Now, Zambia's long-serving opposition leader, Hakainde Hichilema, will become the country's 7th Republican president. He's defeated his fierce rival, Edgar Lungu, of the Patriotic Front in last week's elections. Hichilema faces the difficult task of reviving an economy wrecked by years of overspending that ended in the country becoming Africa's first pandemic-era sovereign defaulter. To talk on this is Zambian historian Dr. Sishuwa Sishuwa, who joins us now on Zoom. Doctor, thank you so much for making time. This is Zambia's third peaceful handover of power to an opposition party. It's always good to see this happen on the continent.
It is, and I think also the significance of this event, momentous occasion, lies in the fact that if you look at what's happening in the region, in Mozambique, there's turmoil there, the protest for more freedom and democracy in Eswatini recently. There has been significant upheaval in South Africa in recent weeks. Zimbabwe seems to be in a state of, permanent or near permanent lack of political space for opposition parties. So when you have a change of this magnitude, it inspires other political actors in the region, but it's a significant shot in the arm for democracy across the continent.
Yeah. Edgar Lungu was crying foul just the other day, saying the elections were not free and fair. What could have led to his change of heart? I mean, the size of the margin may have been difficult to, I suppose, oppose and even claim to challenge in court.
There were two factions within the governing party. You had the hardliners who were pushing for the rejection of the result. And you had the softliners who were pushing for a negotiated deal. So when Lungu came out publicly to say that the results were not free and fair, but limiting it, of course, to the opposition strongholds, he was in effect preparing a stage for a petition after the declaration of the results. What I understand, what has happened in the last day or two, is really to persuade him to see the merit of conceding in keeping up with the tradition of some of his predecessors who lost power, such as Kaunda in 1991 and Rupia Banda in 2011. So the cry of Lungu was really a reflection of that division within the ruling party between those two factions. I think as of yesterday, after a series of negotiations involving key actors, it seems to be, the softliners appear to have won the day and convinced the president that the scale of his defeat was such that it will be in the best interest of the country and even of himself, in terms of his legacy, to simply concede defeat and move on.
Yeah, as he was conceding defeat, he admitted in his address that there are challenges on the way. We've got an economy in turmoil. In Zambia, that country was failing to meet its international debt repayments. What are some of the challenges do you think are on the way for Hichilema?
I think one is the economy is faltering, and a key reason for that is the high debt levels. Zambia's debt now, external debt stands at $12 billion. From $1.9 billion when the Patriotic Front came to power in 2011. Hichilema is inheriting that debt. And what that means is that his first major challenge would really be to find a way to resolve that debt question. And I think that he will have to turn to the International Monetary Fund for that. The IMF may demand the implementation of a series of austerity measures, which might mean that, for some time, it will be difficult for him to create the jobs. It will be difficult to get significant funding to social sectors. How he reconciles these competing demands between the need to resolve the debt question and to also meet the aspiration of people who voted for him in the belief that he will create jobs, he will improve social delivery, will be one of the major challenges of his presidency. But also there are areas like policy consistency. The previous administration was very inconsistent in terms of policy. And investors don't like that. They want some kind of stability. Hichilema has promised to make sure that going forward, there will be policy predictability, which investors, I think, are likely to welcome. On the political front, Zambia was characterized by ethnic divisions. Hichilema has to heal the country divided over the last 7 years, but also he has to rise above the partisan fray and understand that he's now a national leader who should be pull everybody together. Because when he spoke moments ago about in his first speech since he was declared president-elect, he was looking back rather than looking forward. And I think that over the next few days and weeks, Zambia would hope that he will be focused on resolving the challenges that await his administration.
Yeah, and I mean, this was his 6th attempt at this, and one wonders what kind of presidency he's going to have compared to Lungu's. I mean, he was imprisoned, Hichilema himself, was it in 2017, for refusing to make way for Lungu's motorcade, and rightly so. Some people have asked, will he persecute the opposition the same way he was seemingly persecuted?
One hopes that he wouldn't. I do think that the key reason why Zambian voters gave him such an emphatic win was because they expected changes to the policies that his predecessor pursued. Human rights and democracy were seriously eroded. Corruption was rife without any attempt by the government to curb it. Opposition and civil society were not allowed to conduct their activities. Critical media outlets were shut down. And even during the election, many Zambians were shocked to wake up to the news that social media has been closed. The voters have shown that they retain a stern aversion to those kind of policies. And I think that Hichilema would have learned his lesson and made sure that going forward, what is important is the restoration of democracy and the rule of law, and the need to fight corruption, which might also mean looking back over some of the actions of his predecessors and initiating, where evidence exists, possible court cases against some of the members of the previous administration.
Okay. Thank you for making time. Zambian historian, Dr. Sishuwa Sishuwa.